Hey there everyone, and welcome to another video. And today we're going to be talking about this wheel right here. This is what I race with. This is what I majority play. When I say play, I do all my esports racing with. It is for those people who are wondering, it's the Thrustmaster F1 Ferrari style F1 wheel by Thrustmaster. And it goes on the T300 RS, the T500 wheelbases, and it is a beautiful wheel. It has basically several different buttons that you can utilize to customize however you want. In PC mode, you've got a few other little buttons as well, which I'll talk about in a little while anyway. But this is predominantly the wheel. This is what I use all the time when I'm doing my F1 stuff. And I've also got another wheel that goes along with that as well, which is the GT Sport one, which is just a normal steering wheel, and it's basically just a nicer wheel to work with. But this is because when you're looking at the screen, or when you're looking in front of the car, you've also got to worry about everything else that's going on this wheel. So you don't have a screen up here. That's why I have two. I've got two of them to work between. So I've got this one here, which is just from an old Sony phone. And this one doesn't have the same customizations as what the other one does. But this is one of my backup ones if that one does go off or the battery dies on it. And basically it'll allow me to change different parts of the model, different parts of the car. It tells me exactly what the tire pressures are and everything else. So it's a very nice little model to work off. And that's my basic one. This one here, on the other hand, is exactly the same model of app, but it's slightly different. So this one has a couple of more customizations. It has a lot more information on the screens, and it will tell me a lot more about what's going on with the wheel. Sorry about the cracks and everything. I had a small issue with this when it fell off the wheel in its early stages of it's kind of testing around with the system. Fell off and smashed itself, so I was a little bit annoyed about that, but it still does the trick. This one is a lot more information about it. It tells you all the brake pressures and how much damage has been done to the car and how much energy is being utilized. It's a really good little tool to use, especially when you're trying not to concentrate so much on what's going on the wheel and not going out in front, and you just need to glance at stuff very quickly. You can do that on here. The buttons is all customizable, as I said, and one of them also works to the screen. So obviously it won't work right now because obviously this isn't connected to the wheelbase and there's no power going to it. But this button, pardon me, so there's an amount that goes on top of here as well, which obviously hides all these two buttons here. But these are all brushed on and painted, so they don't actually move. I've got some other little bits and pieces coming through the post soon where I'm going to remove these and customize it a little bit. It's going to make it look a little bit more pretty. This black tape as well is going to go because there's an actual mount that I have that the screen actually fits in to make it look a little bit more like a wheel and makes it look a little bit more aesthetically pleasing rather than looking at a Samsung or a Sony screen. This button here will basically allow me to change between the screens. Obviously I'm tapping this now, but when it's powered on and it's working, this will actually change the screens for me. And then I can utilize some of the other buttons as well to accept things and press things and do all sorts of different things with the car. So it's a very good little tool to use when I'm racing around a track and I haven't got a lot of time to change things on the fly. These buttons here, this button here doesn't really get utilized. It's kind of a back button for me. I use it to do a lot of menu changes before I go out on the track. And the same with the pump button as well. This pump button here doesn't get utilized that much. This one, on the other hand, it does. This is my push to talk button. So when I'm talking online or when I'm talking to my pit crew or whoever I'm talking to, I'll push that in, I'll talk on the radio, and then I'll release. And it basically, like a push to talk transmission, is what you would get in the car. In real life, it would be actually either up here or it would be there. But I've modified it a little bit so I can actually utilize this button because it says pit on it. And it makes it a little bit easier for me when I'm racing around a track and I haven't got a lot of time to think and I just need to glance at stuff. Muscle memory just kicks in and says, right, I know where pit is. And it makes it a little bit easier for me. So let's go up to the top again. So we've talked about that button. We now want to talk about this one, the pit lane limiter. Obviously, this one is also a selected tool as well. So if I want to select something, I'll just tap that as well when I'm on the track. And that will allow me to select that mode if I'm trying to change something on the fly with the car. Just because it's really easy, because literally my thumb's right here. So what I have to do is go up and down here. So this will change the menus as I'm going through the screens. I can go down, down, up, or whatever. And that will allow me to change modes. And then all I have to do is accept it with that. And then I can just literally press that button to come out of it, set it back to its normal state, and that's it. When I'm racing, and I had a camera, if I had a camera behind, you'll see me do a lot of these buttons. I mean, my hand is really busy on here. I'm either going up and down gears, changing modes on the fly for the engine and the ERS. All these buttons here, trying to change modes and trying to change different things, because I would be doing it from this in real life. These buttons here, I'd be changing all this, and these would be the different modes that I would use in real life. Obviously, that ain't the case. This is obviously a simulator wheel, so obviously there's a few little things that don't work, that should work, and that's the case. PS4 mode, these 3 buttons here aren't, you can't use these on PS4, but on the PC, you can use these. You can use them to customize whatever button you want. So for example, if you want to use this as a menu button, you can. On the PS4, that's your options switch, that's your share button, and that's your PS button. Self-explanatory really, isn't it? Directional buttons, we've already talked about. This will allow me to, if I haven't got the time, or I've got a bit more time, or if I'm in the pit lane, I can use this to go up and down some menus and just change a few things in the car before I go out on track. And then obviously these 2 things here are quite nice to have, because when you're trying to go through ERS modes and engine modes, you haven't got the time to sort of change some buttons. So I've mapped them so that instead of it being diff in and charge buttons, that is a charge, that is my ERS. So it's really easy for me to recognize that. So I know that that is my ERS. So up there will go into high ERS mode, high, overtake, and hot lap, and then it'll come down to medium, low, and then obviously recharge, or low charge. Sorry, low power outage, high recharge. So it will basically allow me to recharge the battery so I can utilize more later on a straight. And then obviously if I'm using low ERS, I can also use high power settings. So this will obviously go engine high, engine medium, engine low. And that will basically allow it to just change the different modes of the engine up to high tempo, medium tempo, and then down to low. And basically I can do that on the fly. As I'm turning the wheel, I can just do, and then I can change that on the fly, and it will tell me on the screen which modes I'm in, which is quite nice to have. Yeah, so that's the front of the wheel, and that's pretty much all of the buttons on the front. Like I said, that's where the mount goes. Just quickly do something there. If we go into the back, this bit here is where all the magic happens. So it works exactly like a real F1 wheel. So you can remove it on a mount. So if you can imagine, that's the base. The base is here. You can click that on before you get into the seat, and then screw on a little base, and that's basically it then, and you'll basically rotate. I've also put in a screw as well. You can see where the screw hole is there. Just gives that a little bit of stability as well when I'm racing and turning things and whatever. And these 2 bits here are my flappy paddle bit, I call them the flappy paddle gearbox, or the flappy paddles, but this is basically your gear selector switches. So obviously up and down. So if you look at it from this way, and I can imagine my hands are here, so when I've got my gloves on, my hand, basically, I'll try and do this so you can actually imagine me actually doing this. I want to try and do this without making myself look like a fool. Oh dear me, I've got fingers all over the place. What's going on? So imagine it like that. I've only got one hand on. So obviously as I'm turning the wheel, I'm going around and I'm going up and down the gears. And then obviously on the other side, just going to do a one-place change here. Hold on. There's my dog. Hello. And on the other side, it's obviously my down shift. So other side is up, that side is down. And that's obviously that bit, but they're very noisy, and that's one thing I'm trying to modify on the wheel. There's a couple of screws on the back, which when I get a bit more time, I'm going to remove, and then take the springs out and put more of a non-metallic sound on there, so you'll hear more of a tap as it goes through, like it would normally do in a real gearbox, where on this one it's very metallic, and I don't like it because it puts you off a little bit when you're racing. Couple of things to note about this: it does get quite dirty, especially when you turn things on and off all the time, or when you're taking the wheel off. These pins in here are very, very delicate. I don't know if you can just see them. They're basically like a normal, like a mouse connector. PS3. It's not PS3 as in PlayStation 3, but like a normal PS3 connector you get with a mouse, like the old school mouses with the balls on the bottom. With the ball roller. It works exactly the same as that. It's like a PS3 connector, and that will clip onto another PS3 connector, which will allow the wheel to rotate and get all the information it needs to the wheel. So that's basically the wheel. A point to note, actually, with this. So as I'm flicking through, it was a good point to note. A lot of people were asking me about the Austria incident, how I very badly lost the race. Yeah. This poor part here, left right hand tyre. I wished I had the telemetry. There's one thing I'm trying to work for, is trying to get a backup for telemetry. So all the telemetry that I read, I can pull off and monitor and see exactly what happened with the car through the race. But the only problem is that I can only hold on to it for a certain amount of time, and then it removes it altogether, which is kind of a bad thing. So I'm working on ways how I can modify an app on my PC to upload the information that gets sent from here as like a telemetry storage system, and then be able to read all the telemetry that gets read from this thing and be able to see it as like a graph, and then I can actually see exactly what I was doing right, what I was doing wrong, where I was losing time. But in Austria, and a lot of people were asking me this, in Austria, when I lost my left hand rear wheel due to the suspension arm and the suspension rack failure and the dampeners failing, this here went like bloody nuts. That PSI there should have been at 21.3. It went up to 43.2. The tyre should have burst. So I don't know whether that was a telemetry error or what, I don't know. But there was definitely errors coming from that side of the track. That's that side of the thing. That was my first alarm when I was doing it. The second alarm is when you see the tyre here, it basically gives you your degradation and tells you how much percentage of what your degree in tyre temperature is. You can see there it's in degrees. That went from quite a mild 80 to 90 degrees to almost 150 degrees. And that was because when the suspension rack failed, the whole rear left-hand side of the car shut down like a I don't know, I don't even know how to explain it. It just basically went very, very lopsided, which meant a lot more pressure was being produced on that tyre and that wheel, which basically meant I had to pit. So when you saw my teammate go in first because he overtook me, and then I had to pit in straight behind him, was for that reason alone, was because I needed to get something done about that that left rear tyre, because it was just becoming a nightmare. So I went in there, they had a look at the telemetry and everything, and then when I finished the race and we had to sit down and chatted about things, they then came to the conclusion and said that, yeah, you basically pushed the car too hard, you basically hit the curb, or you did something. They're trying to still look over the footage, and yeah, basically you spun out and damaged the car, and that's the end of that. I ended up finishing in 9th due to the time penalties, and that was the time penalties for me. It was time penalties by everyone else, and obviously the punishment for JP Greenwood, who was obviously the person who collided into me, that has now been officially sanctioned now by the stewards, and they have given him a 10-second penalty for that incident. That hasn't really affected anything, but it's just nice to see that the stewards did take that into consideration and said that it was a very, very bad show of sportsmanship. And yeah, it's good to see that the stewards are being very fair with the penalties. JP, I know it was a mistake, mate, but it just sort of felt a little bit off the way that you sort of just collided into me like a bullet. But it's all right, because at the end of the day, it is just a simulator. It is just a thing, and we just get over it. We be gentlemen about it, and you put me up a good fight, so well done, mate. And I hope we can have a very clean fight in the next race in Germany, mate. I'm looking forward to it. Anyways, right, I'm gonna call this a night, because obviously it's about 2 o'clock in the morning now in Britain. Yeah, so obviously this is just really a small video about the wheel itself, and what it does, how I feel about what I'm doing right now, which is the esports thing. I wouldn't be doing this without all your guys' support, guys and girls, because I know there are some girls out there that will support me as well. Without you people, I would not be doing this at all. I wouldn't be anywhere as sort of passionate about this as what I would think I would be. And that's all because you guys are pushing me and telling me to do better and better and better, and you guys are supporting me in a great way. My work is obviously, a thing that gets in the way a lot, but they are being quite supportive. And the team, God, I can't really talk any better about the team. The team have been fantastic. Yeah, they gave me a bit of a shoe-in last race, but to be honest, I kind of deserved it. I did push the car a little bit too hard and beyond its pace, but on the flip side to that, we did have good pace. The car felt fantastic around that track. It was just that one fault, that one little issue with the back left-hand wheel, and that's what ruined the race for me. Tej did really well, and the team as a whole going from strength to strength to strength. I mean, at the end of the day, we are in a rebuilding phase. So, it's good to see that the team is doing as well as it is and being quite competitive. So, yeah, it was bad, but we are on our way up. And Williams have, they're great. They're a great team to be with. And I fully agree with what they said to me on Thursday night and Friday morning. After the team chats and everything, I kind of agreed with everything they said. And I did need a bit of a shoeing, because I basically pushed the car way, way harder than it needed to go. And it bit me on the ass, basically. I will learn from that mistake in Germany. Even though my Instagram followers are saying, go nuts with the push. And so basically on Instagram, I basically said to them, do I go conservative or push? Or go nuts? And everyone says to me, go bloody nuts. Well, I am going to go nuts in a way, but I've got to be careful with the car. At the end of the day, the team have said to me that I need to be careful. And yeah, at the end of the day, I can't disagree with team orders. If the team want me to do something, I can't go against that and say, well, my fans are telling me to do this. At the end of the day, they are theoretically eventually going to be, supporting me throughout my entire esports career. So I can't really, bite their arms off, So I agree with what you guys are saying, and I will definitely do everything I can in Germany to push myself to the limit and the car, but I will be conserving everything I have to finish the race in a very competitive space. Whether I finish the race in the top spot is another matter. I've still got to do some testing. I did a bit of testing on Friday evening, and today I've done a little bit of testing, but that's it for now. I mean, I've only pushed out maybe 6 or 7 hours of testing. I'm going to be pushing a lot more maybe tomorrow night. I'll be doing some testing on Germany. I'll probably do a live stream on that one. And yeah, it's all going good for the future. I am very happy where I am. A lot of people have also been saying as well, oh, are you going to stay with Williams? Are you going to change? I'm staying with Williams. I don't know what you guys are talking about. I'm staying with Williams. Unless they sack me or they get rid of me, which I would like to think they won't. I know my teammate is very much behind me in saying that, I am doing a great job, like he is. And I'm thankful for that. So I can't see me being sacked from the team. I can definitely see them instructing me on how to improve. At the end of the day, this is like my first season in esports properly. This is like professional level of esports. So, I kind of have to see how it goes. I don't think they will sack me. I don't see any reason why they would. But the end of the day, they are a team that have to strive for greatness. And if I don't fit with inside that, then I guess that's the way it is. I'm just going to have to look for another team, and hopefully another team will take me on. But we'll see how that goes. I mean, at the end of the day, there are other divisions out there. I have got F6 to go into if F7 don't accept. So we'll see. We'll see. But for now, I'm very happy where I am, and I'm staying with Williams for the foreseeable future. So yeah, I'm not going anywhere. Trust me, I'm not going anywhere. Anyways, guys, guys and girls, I'm gonna turn this off now because it is late and I need to go to bed because I'm up early in the morning. So everyone, thank you very much for tuning in. You know what to do. I'm not going to teach you how to suck eggs. Like, subscribe, all the good stuff. Make sure you do it because everything you do to support me makes me want to do it more for you guys, and there'll be more content coming out for you guys and girls, no matter where you are in the world. So thank you very much for watching. Like and subscribe. You know what to do. Thanks a lot for watching, guys and girls. I love you all. You're the greatest in the world. And I will see you all in Germany if I don't see you in the next live stream. Take care, everyone, and I love you. Bye-bye.